start our GarageBand here in a second.
Hooray! Maybe I should just move to like a cheese and preserves diet.
Cheese and preserves.
Mm-hmm.
Your picture's frozen on here. I don't know why.
So is yours.
Is it? Can you disable your camera and turn it back on again?
Oh, now it's back.
Okay, turn your camera off and turn it back on again.
Okay. How do I do that?
There we go. We're back.
Back in business.
All right. Do you have a review you want to read?
Yeah.
I got
I'll
some
just read the
surveys.
last one.
Okay, I got some survey stuff.
You want to start at 15? Nope, 30.
30's good. I was looking at what time it was. I was like, what do you mean 15? Like on the minute, 15 minutes? Okay. 30. Yeah, we'll start at 30.
And that one I started early.
There
Last
we go.
one I started late, and this one I started early.
We're live.
We're live. Oh, I have cheese in my throat. We're live.
That's what was supposed to come out?
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of.
Hi, Becca.
Hi.
You said you had a story for me. What's the story?
Oh. So, I did. This is our second recording tonight, but we're doing 2 medium episodes so that we can get some backlog episodes. So last week I got home real late, and whenever I get home real late, I always have to park like way back in the parking lot, which is fine. But there is a dumpster back there for furniture that apparently they put there like this time of year for all the college kids that move in and out of here. And a couple months ago, I found a small cat tree. That's the thing that cats climb on. That's like got carpet all over it. And I don't know if anybody's bought a cat tree, but they're fucking expensive. They're like, just the small ones are like $45. Like the ones, if you want any second levels, it's like goes to $70. And if you want like a fucking tall one, it's like
that's nuts.
$300.
It's like, isn't that just fucking wood with carpet wrapped around it? Like, why is it so fucking expensive?
It's not even wood. It's cardboard.
It's like thick cardboard, right?
Yeah. Like
with
thick cardboard
with
tubes.
Carpet, and then maybe like rope that's taped, that's glued on or whatever. It's like, why is it like $150 for this thing?
Right. So
it's like god awful looking generally. But it's like, why is this more than a piece of furniture? Yes.
They finally have ones that are like good looking, thank God. But I get home at like 11 p.m. and I parked right next to this furniture dumpster that we have. And I look over there and there's a fucking cat tower, like a 6-foot cat tower in this dumpster. It is sprinkling. And I freak the fuck out because I'm like, what? And Lloyd, like, everybody's like, oh, cats don't like to climb on things that other cats have. Lloyd doesn't mind. He doesn't care at all, but he likes to be high up on things and he likes to climb.
He'll climb ladders. You have like an 8-foot ladder in your apartment, and he'll climb.
He's climbed the 12-foot ladders that I've had. So I fucking freak out and I texted Rebecca and I was like, I found a cat tree in the dumpster. And I like tried to pull it out. It was super heavy and I finally got it out and I have it like standing right next to me. And Rebecca's apartment is like eyes shot away, like straight shot
So
to
she
the
sees
dumpster.
you doing
And I
this.
texted her and I was like, look outside, I found the most magnificent cat tree. And she didn't, but I was like standing there like all smiling and like super happy. And I've had it in the back of my car for a week and a half because it's so ginormous.
Oh
I
my
have nowhere to
gosh.
put it. I can't put it in here because Rebecca's allergic to cats.
Why don't you put it in
And
your apartment?
I could, but it's broken. That's the thing. It's like the top of it's all
Oh.
mangled and it's broken, and so I need to fix it. And I was like, oh, I'll just fix it at the studio, the not Graves Co, but my personal studio. And then we have this show coming up on Wednesday, and I was like, shit, I need to get the cat tree out of there. And so I finally asked my landlord. I was like, could I just store it in the parking lot for like a week? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah,
me and
there's not
Joe,
like a stairwell you could put it at the bottom stairs, like underneath the stairwell or something.
yeah, but I mean, like, it's not, it's better at this studio. Well, I mean, yeah, I could, but it's already been in the rain. It's
Oh
fine.
my gosh. As
So,
long as it's not an eyesore and somebody like steals it or throws it away because it's sitting
no,
outside.
it won't be. And RJ knows that it's there. But yeah, I pulled it out of my car today and put it in the parking lot at the studio, right next to the two kilns that are like covered up with a tarp. And yeah, so that's my story about the cat tree.
Nice.
But
I have a funny cat story then, if we're talking
oh
cats here.
yeah,
Okay, so yesterday's daylight savings, right?
yeah.
Um, brother was here, his fiance was here, and then we were having lunch, and we didn't change. The cat's food is automated, so it's in these self-managed feeders. They've got settings
Right.
on them with the times, and it's dropping food at certain times. So they get fed at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. There's like single servings at each one of those times, so it's the same amount, and each one of them eats and stuff like that. Um, So the thing drops at 11 a.m. because it's actually, it's on the old time, right?
Yeah.
It drops, and the first story is Marble's been eating food too quickly. So she just eats it and then throws it up. Sometimes she'll throw it up. Like probably once a week, she'll just throw her food up. Um, because she eats it too quickly. Or like she's licking stuff out of the kitchen and in the sink and then eats, and then it's like, okay, I'm already full, and then she still eats it and throws it up.
We pause. We should also mention that Marble literally is like a fucking thief. She like took a sandwich out of my hand. Like she
Yes.
loves food.
Yes.
Loves
As she
food.
sits on my lap and naps. Um, so she eats, she throws it up, and then I'm coming from the like sunroom because we just got done
Hmm.
eating brunch or whatever, and I was walking to the kitchen and the throw up is on the ground. I'm like, okay, she threw up, whatever, put my plate down, and then I walked back over there and I was like, Marble just threw up, blah blah blah. And then Autumn's over there eating it, which she's
Ah,
done. She's done sometimes. So I'm like, Rachel, somebody got a serving and a half, second hand over here. Uh, so by the time I
gross.
get over there to clean it up, I'm cleaning up like 5 pieces of food that have
Oh,
not been eaten.
gross.
Because when Marble throws it up, it's basically just like solid food with like saliva holding it together. Like it's not, it's not bitten up or anything. It's just solid food with saliva. Oh, so Autumn's eating it, and Rachel's like, "What the hell? What the hell? Don't let her lick me and stuff." So, and then the second funny part of that is I changed the time on there, and I fixed it to the right time, so I moved it back an hour,
Oh no.
and then their feeding came up again, and they run over there, and Marble's eating it up, and then I'm like scooping her up, and I'm like, "No, no, you can't get it," and then I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna have to put the food back up," and I'm holding Marble, and then I pick up Autumn and I'm like, oh shit, the other one's gonna drop. So I pick up Autumn and then they're both like freaking out in my hands and I'm like trying to hold them because they're both flipping out. So I just let them eat. So Marble got a serving because she threw up one serving, and then Autumn got 2 servings because I'm sure Marble eats her servings all the time sometimes. So
Have
yeah.
you seen? You should put like Ooh, that's ironic. You should put like marbles in Marble's bowl, so she has to like eat around them or something.
In her bowl? What do you mean?
Well, have you seen those cat bowls that like have like a little maze so that they have to like eat around the maze so that it slows them down? You should get those.
Yeah. How, like, I would have the actual food come out of it into one of those?
Yeah, I think so.
How would I know which one Marble's going to eat out of?
Set it for a minute before.
I mean, that's not guaranteed. I don't know.
Marble's a food hoe. We know she's gonna get to that bowl before Autumn does.
She eats so fast. And then Autumn will just like, if you're just over there by her and you're just like, hey Autumn, she'll like start walking over to me. I'm like, eat your food. Like she's distracted and she'll just walk over. And then I'll be like, go on, like finish your food.
That's how Floyd was when I had Lloyd and Floyd. I would have to put Floyd on the other side of a fucking door and let him eat because it took him 5 years to eat. And Lloyd would be like, "Wah!" and
Yeah.
like freaking out over it. Now I just put a bowl out. I've just given up and I just open feed him.
Jeez.
And it's actually helped quite a bit because he doesn't eat as much, I don't think. He
Yeah.
maybe gained a pound, but he probably needed.
They're pretty regulated. Like, I don't think they're pretty small. I mean,
Yeah.
Lloyd's a lot taller and longer, but like Marble probably doesn't weigh more than 10 pounds, and Autumn weighs like 9 pounds or something.
Yeah. Lloyd weighs.
They're both like 3 and 4 years old, so.
Yeah, Lloyd, I think he weighs 13 pounds now, and Babs weighs 9. So, and
Lloyd's
she's
really tall and really dense, though.
Lloyd's
like
a
Lloyd,
huge
Lloyd looks
cat.
healthy, but he's like dense.
Yeah, he's a huge cat. Like he's very muscular, he's very tall, and he's very long. So like him at 13 pounds, where a normal cat would be like super chubby, he's like super fucking skinny. Like you can still see his bones.
Yeah.
So.
All right, there's your cat talk for today.
There's our cat talk.
Yes.
I wish I could tell my dreams on this podcast. I had a really fucking crazy dream last night. It was like a video game, but I won't tell it.
I don't remember my dreams that long. I would have to like write them down or something.
Hi, Rachel.
She's not here. I was just turning around.
Oh, Andrew Linderman says hi.
There's a ghost over there, so I was looking at the ghost over there.
Oh. Andrew Linderman says hi, by the way.
Yeah. Hi.
To you and Rachel.
Hi.
Hi.
Andrew and Rachel.
Hi, Andrew and Rachel, to Ryan and Rachel.
All right. I have some feedback from our listener survey that we sent out in February, March. And got a couple things. So this will be if you could say anything anonymously on the podcast, what would it be? We had a few here. One of them is funny. It says, I rarely agree with Becca over Ryan, but Becca is right about free shipping. So you got that going for you.
Yeah. Also rude.
You're like, fuck yeah, but fuck you.
But fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Never. I never would. No, I wouldn't. But no.
Another one says, life's too short. Try to avoid doing as many things as you can that you don't enjoy doing.
True that.
True that. And then one more says, you guys have a great podcast, in large part because you're so different from each other. The respect you have for each other comes through each conversation.
We do respect each other, and I appreciate that about us.
Yes.
Sometimes though, Val says that she yells at the podcast. She's like, Ryan, don't let her talk to you like that.
Don't take that. You tell her. You tell her.
Okay, I have a review.
Can I read one more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this one says anything else you'd like to mention or suggest for us. This one says, I really enjoy your podcast because you talk more about the life of a potter, which is relatable content for me. I'm not interested too much in the specific pottery techniques. Like, for example, if you did a whole podcast about making a mug or how to dry your pieces, I would skip those episodes. So I hope the podcast keeps its course. I think the podcast when you guys talk about kiln or wheel buying pricing is the only one I skip because it's not why I listen to your podcast. It could be interesting for the listeners to have some international guests to see how they sell in their country and about their techniques in daily lives.
True.
So,
We're working on that. Unfortunately, times.
Yeah.
Time. Is it my turn
Cue
now?
time. Cue time from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Okay.
All right, let's go. What you got?
Okay, I have a review from Kat Martin. It says, the amount of times this podcast has come out with episodes that have lined up with my personal struggles has got to be divine intervention or something. Becca and Ryan are doing the pottery world a huge service in talking about the hard stuff, the business and the failures and the nitty gritty of the behind the scenes that even potters fail to recognize and address often. I'm having suspicions that a mug of mine that I picked up a couple days ago isn't vitrified, and the newest episode has perfect timing. Thank you both so much for the podcast, and it's been such a great resource of knowledge and entertainment. Thanks.
That's perfect. I love it. Do you ever feel like we're just tooting our own horn when we read these reviews?
I always feel like that.
It's a little boost for ourselves, but I think it's cool to hear like directly from listeners. Plus, it's probably cool that they get to hear who said that. By the way, is there a name with it? Kat Martin. Okay, thanks, Kat. Probably cool to hear that we're appreciative of their time they spend to write the reviews as much as they appreciate our time doing this. So,
well, sometimes they're really funny and sometimes they're really sweet, and yeah,
sometimes they're JW17.
you know.
Got to be some JW17s out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a deep cut. If people know JW17, but
that's
you know,
deep.
you know.
If you know, you know. JW17, if you're listening, we love you. What are we talking about today?
We're answering some listener questions. So I think these are mainly related to like business selling kind of stuff. So
okay.
Yeah, we'll start with the first one from Paisley Soul Pottery. I have a question about what?
You're gonna read it right so I can eat my cheese.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question about person arts and craft shows. Do you have a banner or a largish sign at your booth? I've seen them hanging as a back wall or the front of a table or even the front of the tent roof. What is your take on those? Yes, no, gaudy, good idea. What do you think? What do you have?
I thought that was muted the whole time, and now I'm going to have to edit that.
I don't think so. I don't know.
If you just heard me crunching away.
I mean, I was reading, so that's whatever.
Anyway, damn it.
What do you have? Do you have a wood sign that you painted?
Wait, hold on. Backstory to this cheese. I did the episode earlier, and then I did not eat dinner, and then Rebecca did some food photo thing earlier this week, but she's on this like really intensive elimination diet, and so I texted her and was like, "Can I have all your brie?" And so I'm eating brie and raspberry preserves and pita chips, and it's basically the best dinner ever. Okay, what do I think about the booth sign? Moving on. Ryan's taking a picture of us. You're muted.
It's all right.
Okay. Anyway, moving back. Look at us. We're live, guys. We're a fucking shit show. Anyway, moving on. Um, I do have a sign, but it's like a smallish sign. It's not super big. When I would have a sign at Leavenworth, it was probably 3 feet wide, 1.5 feet tall, and it said Five Lines Pottery. And the only reason I kept it was because I already had it. And I would just set it on the floor, basically. I never hung it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do some creative shit with yours, right? I mean, you like to paint and stuff, so I feel like you drawing on wood and designing
Yeah.
it, like you probably do some cool stuff.
Yeah. I'm really excited to make my shitty cup sign. Oh! I'm
Oh!
I'm really excited to make my shitty cup sign because it has the words that shitty means. Simple, handmade, inexpensive, tactile, totally unique. And then I also made an acronym for fancy. Are you ready?
Yeah, what is it?
Fucking awesome, not cheap, yo.
Not cheap, yo.
I
Oh,
can't
that's
wait.
funny.
That's fine. Yeah, so I don't think a big sign is needed. You don't have a big sign.
No, my sign, I actually had a friend that has a Glowforge, which is like the laser cut, wood cut sign kind of deal. I think it's maybe 10 by 12 or
Yeah.
10 by 16 or 12 by 16 or something like that. And it has my RD symbol, RD, and it says ceramics underneath it. And there's two holes in the top that I use so that I could like feed some string or something through it to hang it.
Yeah.
Typically depends on where it's at, but I have nailed my head on it a number of times, so I try to keep it in a spot that I'm not going to be moving around and walking through areas and knocking my head on it. So
Yeah.
I usually put it at the back of the booth so
Mm-hmm.
that you can see it when you enter the booth. But it also depends on how I set my booth up. Like if it's if it's an outside U shape and people are coming from the outside, I might put it at the front of the booth, like hanging from the front corner. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's also wood, so like I don't want rain to get on it and stuff like that because I have still yet to polyurethane it on both sides. I polyurethane one side like 2 years ago, but I still have never polyurethane the front. So yeah,
You polyurethane the back, but not the front?
yes, I'm an
That
idiot.
makes no sense.
Well, the back was like just it didn't have the name, the logo on it, so I wanted to like make sure like I knew what it was gonna look like on just the
Yeah.
back side before I did anything with the front, so I didn't
Yeah.
mess it up. But I never did the front, so.
That's funny.
But yeah, the sign's not that big. I don't know. Like Rachel and I were talking about, we've talked about it a few times, but like getting some kind of signage that could like be part of the table
Mm.
cloth. I don't like the like pinning things up or like
Yeah.
magnetizing signs. Like I think those vinyl signs look kind of like meh to me. I was kind of thinking of something to like either have it on not like burlap or something, but like some kind of like tan cloth or
Yeah.
something that could like go over my um table, kind of like a table runner sort of, and
Yeah.
hangs down and it's got my logo on it on
I
in
think that's
some
a great
design
idea.
somehow. So it's on the front of the table and it's still branded, but it's not
Yeah.
like a huge thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that like I mean, how much do you think the sign matters? Like, do you think people are coming to see your specific, do you think it legitimizes you more or like I think the pieces are going to stand enough to, I mean, I do think it's good to like say, "Oh, I went to that booth and it was RD Ceramics because I saw their sign when they come back later or something." But
Right.
I mean,
No, I
that's where
don't
you're.
think the sign is really all that important, honestly. Um, I do like, I at one point had like a little bio of me that I would just hang on the tent, like kind of out of the way, and people would read that. I like that. It's very small. It was just like probably 4 inches wide. 6 inches tall or something like that.
What is it? Is it on your table or is it just hanging like in a laminated like thing or how
Yeah,
is it?
I
Is
just
it
like
taped
hung
to
it.
the okay? But it's like on the leg of the tent or something, so it's like out
Yeah,
of the
about.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would do that, which was nice. Then people could read it.
What does it say? Just like who you are, what your business is, how long you've been making, and what kind of
Yeah.
stuff you specialize in or something.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that, don't take up your table space with that. Do it someplace else. But yeah, I don't really think the sign really matters all that much. Like the show that I'm doing, um, coming up, they put a sign behind you for you, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna have a sign for my stuff at all.
Yeah. Do you think it's better to have a sign at if you're gonna have a sign? Is it better to have it at the front of the booth or the back of the booth?
I think if you had it on the table, like you were saying, it's good. But I think the back is usually ideal.
Yeah, I try not to put it in the front because I don't want to block anything potentially.
Yeah.
If it's in view, I don't want to block any eyeballs hitting stuff behind it. Because the sign is just like a big square and it's wood, so it will
Yeah.
block stuff. Like it'll block my mugs if they're hanging or whatever. And I don't want to potentially have it in the way for people to hit their heads on it because I have hit my head on it a number of times and it's not nice. So,
Yeah.
all
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
Um, Also consider the weather too. Like if you are gonna have some kind of sign, like try to make sure that you can have something that will last for the long term. That
Yeah.
if you're packing your stuff up, it could get wet, or it's not gonna get ruined if it gets wet.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Thank you for that question. Next one. How do you submit to an art show? I've applied but can't seem to get accepted. Any specific advice? Narwhal and Crow. Um, I was going to refer you to episode number 86 and 87, where we talk about getting into art shows and selling at art shows. I would say 86 is going to pertain more to getting into them and finding them and all that good stuff. Is there anything extra you want to say about submitting to them?
I know nothing about submitting to art shows.
I mean, generally, it's going to be just Googling the art show, seeing like looking up shows around you. Facebook events are a good resource to find shows. Submitting to them is usually like go to their website, find their application, fill it out, submit it with an
Make sure you
application
have
fee
good
or whatever.
pictures.
Yeah. Good pictures. Make sure you fill it out completely. Um, yeah. We go in pretty deep on those episodes, so definitely go to those. And I think there's another one titled like Art Show Questions. Which one is it? I feel like there's another one.
Ooh,
I don't know,
don't know.
but yeah, there's quite a few in there. Art show Q&A. All right, next one is this one's good.
Mm-hmm.
Mudheads Pottery. I'm doing a wholesale order for a coffee shop. Do you put your maker's mark on wholesale work? I know Gravesco does not, but she is a high roller.
Well, she does sometimes. It
Yeah,
took a lot to put one of the biggest client that we had. Well, not
probably
anymore,
based
but
on
like
the agreements with them and stuff like that, right?
yeah, it took a lot just to put the X on the bottom. Um,
Is that more for she doesn't want her competitors to know who it is, so she doesn't want to know her
absolutely.
source? Okay.
Yes. Which, by the way, is a very bad business practice, in my opinion. Um, but, uh, yeah. So we do mark everything else with a
hmm
stamp that says,
Even if
Graves
you're
Kohari.
wholesaling or whatever. Yeah.
Uh huh.
And it's a stamp that's recognizable. Like it has words to it and
Yeah.
everything. It's not just a mark
Yeah,
that's
it's a stamp.
not Googleable. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't sign anything. So, but when I did
Have you
do
thought
wholesale
about getting
orders,
like
yeah.
a metal have you thought about getting like a metal stamp or whatever you use at Gravesco, like something to stamp or
No.
have you thought no? You haven't you had a circle one that's like a stamp that's like underglazed or something before?
Oh, I've done stamps. Like I used to stamp everything. And then I just stopped because it was such a pain in the ass. It's just like, if you don't get to it in the right time, it's a pain in the butt. And then they all have to like, if I did anything, it would be like the 5 lines on the bottom. But yeah, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I don't fucking care.
I mean, usually the stamping and stuff is for branding and for like returnability and knowing when you made it and all that kind of stuff for people that are buying, for collectors and stuff like that. But I feel like you don't really care as much about that stuff.
I used to, but not anymore. Now I'm just like, nah, I don't even sign the fancy shit. I'm like, whatever.
I feel like you should, at least for that. I mean, what if you made a design with, like, do you put a design on the bottom and underglaze or anything?
No.
No?
That's a lot of work, Ryan.
Well, it's just a little something extra, right? You flip it upside down and there's a little something extra there.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Dita Mert, the way that she signs her work?
Maybe.
She's got some cool stuff the way she signs it. Like she'll do like designs and stuff, or she'll like write out datum, and it's
that's cool.
It's
that's
kind of
like Beal Pottery. Beal Pottery does that too.
Yeah. I think Beal is pretty much the same on every one. I think Datum changes it up based on the color and what pairs well with the mug and stuff. So it's just a little some way to spice it up a little bit. Yeah, the Beal Pottery stuff with the graphical drawings and stuff is nuts. So cool, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, I've never had wholesale order. No, I haven't. The one thing that does come to mind with a wholesale order, the maker's mark is one factor, but I've never had that. I still stamp stuff. I still put the year. And the only thing with the other like wholesale order consideration, I do have different like inserts that I give people, because usually for wholesale they don't like, these are my inserts for regular stuff. This will be only on the video, but it's got all my contact info and all that stuff with my social and shop and website, email and stuff like that. I generally have those for wholesale, but I remove the contact info. So I don't have my email, and I don't have my website, and I don't have my Etsy shop. But I can still put my name and photos and all that good stuff, and then have my social media, just because a lot of those wholesale clients don't want you to just have links directly to your shop. They want people to come to their shop and have you get the support, and then also support you because they buy your stuff wholesale. So that's just a matter of talking with the client of like, hey, can I give you these inserts? It talks about thanks for buying handmade, they're dishwasher, microwave safe, all that good stuff. And it also like looks better for your branding to have those with it. If you give them mugs, just put those in each mug and they'll take it. And it's good for a gift too. Like, it talks about the work, and if they're gifting it, then it looks nicer. So
yeah, but yeah, I would say definitely stamp everything. If you normally put a stamp on stuff, put a stamp on it. Yeah. Sometimes I'll give my stickers people.
To wholesale people? Yeah. It depends on the client. Like, some of them are super like, I have some that are like super supportive. Like, I only sell planters with them, so like they take my entire sheets and they put my entire sheets in there, because honestly they sell way more planters than I sell personally. So like they get the top selection of planters, and customers know to buy planters from them because that's what they have. But if they want to support me for other things, that wholesale, that consignment, it's actually a consignment shop, but they don't care to support me and like put the entire inserts in there with my contact info and website and all that stuff with the purchases. So rude. What?
Rude.
Why is it rude? They put it in there. They have everything.
I know. I was just kidding.
So yeah, if you got a client like that, it's cool. All right. Do you want to read the next one from Paisley Soul?
Yes. I've been transitioning from hobby, very, very part-time potter hand builder to a legit LLC part-time potter. My question is regarding logos and stamps, chop marks versus hand-scribbled signatures on pots. What makes a good logo? Do you prefer to see a signature on each pot, or do you think a chop stamp, a chop/stamp is more professional? This kind of goes with what we were just talking about.
What's a chop? What does that mean?
A chop is when, like on, the only thing I can think of is like on tea bowls and like more Asian style pottery, they put a chop right on the side on the bottom, and it's just like usually like a symbol on the bottom, and it's a square, and they shove it on the side.
Oh.
That's a chop. So it's not really
Is that like,
a
so that's
logo.
like a historic thing?
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like
it's not
Paul
really like,
I does that with his stuff. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
945. I can't remember.
Okay, so it's a seal, essentially.
Okay.
So
it's, yeah, it's like symbolic. It's not for branding necessarily. It's kind of symbolic sort of thing. A little more subtle.
Yeah, so it says, I'll just read. Do you know what I fucking hate is when you like go to Google and they give you like the perfect little snippet of what you were thinking of? Like I said chop stamp, and it has the part, and then you go to Wikipedia and then you can't find it. A seal.
You need to use Control Find in there and then look for it.
I could do that, I guess.
Control F or Command F.
Okay. Chinese seals are typically made of stone, sometimes of metal, wood, bamboo, plastic, or ivory, and are typically used with red ink or cinnabar paste. The word yin in Mandarin specifically refers to the imprint created by the seal, as well as appearing in combination with other morphemes in words related to any printing, as in the word, oh geez, there's a lot of different words here. Printing, pronounced yin xiao in Mandarin. Yin xiao. Yin xiao. In the Western world, Asian seals were traditionally known by traders as chop marks or simply chops, a term adapted from the Hindi chapa and the Malay cap, meaning stamp or rubber stamps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat. I never knew what chop was, but
We
okay,
are
cool.
all
I learned
learning
something.
something tonight.
Yeah. So logos, stamps. I feel like we talked about your side of it. What was yours when you had it? What did it?
So I guess my chop mark, I suppose, would be just 5 lines, and then, but if I was gonna put my name on the bottom, it just said 5 lines pottery.
Okay.
And
I thought
then
you had like a more design oriented one, or maybe I'm thinking of like your stickers or something.
I think I did at one point, and then I was like, "This is dumb," because it was so big. You know,
It was
I
like
think
round. It was in like
yeah.
a round format, and it said like 5 lines, and it was like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
it was big though. Like what my recommendation would be, whatever you do, make it small because it's easier to put it on the cup.
yeah. It depends on what you're putting it on. I think I've signed the same way since basically high school, but it's got a little more craftier. Like I generally did away with the needle tool. The needle tool is sloppy to me. It gets too sharp and it's too deep, and like it just doesn't look as good. I would say if you're gonna sign it with a signature like pencil or like ballpoint pen, I just use like a Bic classic pen or whatever. Like that's pretty good. It's not too sharp and it's good enough to get a good impression. But yeah, I was signing the RD and not doing the years for a number of years. I didn't start putting the year on there until 2019, I think. But it's up to you how you want to do the years or not. I started using a Roman numeral the last couple of years, just because I thought it was a little different. I think Alon Pottery does Roman numerals, and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, oh, go on.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, in regards to the question, I don't think it matters whether you have a stamp or a signature.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to have something on there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I don't, but like that's because I'm in I don't give a shit mode. But yeah, like so if you're going to have a stamp, make it small, potentially make it round because round is a little bit easier to or round-ish is a little bit easier to like stamp. Square can be difficult on a round bottom. but um but yeah, I think that it depends on the quantity that you're doing. Like obviously if like in our business, other people are making the pots for Gravesco, so a stamp is necessary because nobody can sign that many pieces.
I'm looking up Paisley Soul and seeing what they make. Paisley Soul. Here we go. Yeah, and you probably don't want to be scribbling Paisley Soul pottery on every single piece, right? That's going to take forever.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you want something shorter like PS or PSP or Paisley Soul. Like I can imagine a stamp or something that says like Paisley Soul. Maybe like, I mean, Melanie from Swell Ceramics has one that says Swell Ceramics, and it's
Yeah.
like horizontal and it's like kind of on a curve, so it looks nice on the foot of a mug. Maybe that's an option. Paisley Soul kind of written out. I mean, I think it's just gonna look cleaner with the stamp. I got
Yeah.
the stamp from 4clay.com is what mine's from.
Yeah.
You can get a custom stamp and just think of it like it's a business expense. Like I spent like maybe $50 on this stamp, but I'm gonna use it for like ever. So
Yeah, don't get a fucking rubber one. I mean, you can, but they just infuriate you at the end. What I would also recommend is not stamping in the middle. And there's two reasons for this. First reason, when you stamp in the middle, you always have to put your hand in the cup to stamp it. And if you stamp on the side, there's a little bit more oomph. Like usually the wall
yeah,
is
it's got more
there.
structure. It's gonna
Got
push
more
back against you
structure.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can stamp it on the side and it's good to go. And also if you stamp it in the middle, sometimes if it's too hard or too soft, it pushes through the bottom of the cup. So
Yes. That's one thing. If you're coming up with a circular one, like one of them that is one that I've seen, like Spinning Glory, she uses a circle one, and it's perfectly in the middle. Like it looks good being perfectly in the middle, but consider that when you're doing stamps. Like
yeah.
if you're gonna put it on the edge on the bottom, have something that's not gonna look off. If it's like perfectly centered and
But a circle
and
still
then
looks good on the side, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I in my mind, the way it's organized, like I can put mine on the bottom edge and have
Yeah.
the year and stuff, or I could put it on the outside edge, like right at the base of an oil bottle. Let's say I have like a zigzag bottom with my wiggle wire. I'm not going to stamp that on the bottom of the wiggle part because it's going to look weird. I stamp it on the side of the pot at the base. And if it's a mug and it's got a wiggle bottom, I'll usually stamp it right at the base of the handle on the left or the right of the handle, depending on the texture, but I'll usually stamp it kind of there. So it's sometimes it gets covered by glaze, but um, at least with a stamp, it's deep enough that it's not going to get covered as easily as just writing with a ballpoint. Like that will almost certainly get covered with glaze, but at least with a stamp, it can set into the stamp a little bit. So, yeah, I'd say just figure out what your branding is and see if it's doable or not. But yeah, I mean they're reasonably priced. You're gonna get longevity out of it if you get a stamp, or just do ballpoint for a period of time until you figure out what design you want for the stamp.
Yeah.
All right. This last one. How do you want to? It's a long one.
Oh wow. You want me to read it? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
you initially answered it, so I think we answered it in our DMs. But
I don't remember that. Okay, I'm ready.
Go for it.
Okay. I apologize
Becca,
in advance.
Becca, please read question number 4.
What
Loud
would
for everybody to hear.
out loud and for everyone to hear? Uh, what would stop you from participating in a show? Lately, it's been very popular to require high fees from vendors. I've seen as high as $200 to $350 for one day, 6-hour show, and maybe a projected 9K attendance. I'm also seeing contracts being required where the vendor won't sue if they fall, will agree to be there at a certain time and not leave their booth. Bathroom breaks and food aren't an option because you can't have someone else man your booth, and people like me don't have employees. This is under the contract still. You'll defend the event if they are sued, etc., etc. These contracts are several pages and often say vendors are independent contractors, which has its own legal issues. I've also seen requirements for vendors to raffle items off, which in may experience results in people going to booths for the raffle tickets but not buying anything, especially if they are already paid to get in or if the focus of the event is food, activity, music, yoga, etc. To me, it seems like shows/events are a way to gatekeep. So many rules, regulations, and costs, little offered to the vendor, and often the same people get into the good shows. It keeps certain people out, be it due to time or income restrictions or concerns with signing contracts, or you're just not part of the in crowd. Maybe it's not like this in other places, but I'm finding this shift in what markets look like to be completely discouraging. I don't want to pay $200 and call it good if I break even on my booth fee because that sounds like an expensive Saturday. Some of us have families and financial obligations, and I feel as though event organizers don't get that and instead act like they are doing me a favor to pay them so much money to be able to make that a little of that back.
Woo!
There's a lot.
Thank you, Becca. A+.
You're welcome. Thanks. Wow, B+. I feel like
A+. I said A+.
Oh, I would have taken a B+.
B for Becca.
B
All
for
right.
Becca.
I like that last part. Some of us have families and financial obligations. I feel like it's a favor for me to pay them money. It's a favor for me to be at your show and represent your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going back to the beginning, it says, what would stop you from participating? I think any of those things, like a lot of those things, when you're, at least for me, like I've applied to a number of different shows, so I've seen a lot of different, like aspects of how much you're paying for. What do they require you to do? What do they give you? What contracts do they have, or what requirements do they have? And some of those things factor in. It's like you have to be here at this time for this event, or you have to, you have to have a white top for your tent or something. There's shows that have those kind of restrictions or require you to have your provide proof of your liability coverage up to $1 million or something like that. Like some shows require that kind of stuff, and you have to send them documentation for that. I've done better about that kind of things these days. So with the insurance and things, so like those are not off the table anymore. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it factors in of, have I done it before? Have I not? Have I been there before? Do I know what to expect? Like, is there somebody else I could talk to see what they expected and how they sell? $200 is like, that's a lot for a one day. Like the most I've spent for a one day show is probably 150 for one day. But I've generally had good experience with like either, I also generally attend a show before or have an idea of people that have been in the show before I sign up for one and pay for it. I'm not going to spend a bunch of money and travel somewhere and go in blind and have no information. For one, if you go to the show, you kind of know what price points people are selling, like what other potters have there and what they're selling. Hopefully you can get a sense of like, are people buying stuff? Are they not buying stuff? Are they there for like a music festival and there's vendors there? Like, I'm generally not going to do a show if it's like a music festival and there's
Mm-hmm.
vendors there. It's like, they're not here for the vendors. If people are out here listening to music, live music, do they want to carry around a mug that they bought? No, like they're here to like drink and stuff, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the time of day and the length of the show definitely factors in for me too. Like if it's your show, like 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., like fuck that. I'm not doing it.
Right.
Generally,
I
I'm
would
not gonna
never
do
do it
that.
either. Normally, I would
Yeah.
never do it.
Even if it was like 2 days, I would be like, if it's inside, at least that helps that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but those are long hours. That's like double the amount of time I want to be there. Like 10 to 3 or 10 to 4 is good. 10 to 6, pushing it. 10 to 8, fuck that. Um,
Fuck that shit.
so I would say those are the biggest factors for me. The price is obviously a factor, but hopefully you get a better idea of what to expect. I don't know that you can just trust based on like, okay, we're gonna have 9,000 attendees here and go by their numbers. You got to kind of gauge whether your stuff fits in with the
Yeah.
show or not. So I don't know. What's your experience with shows and like what about at this time? Like what gets you to think about a show? I don't know how much you looked into shows now, but
I haven't looked into a lot of them, but I'm at the kind of opinion now where it's like if it's more than $200, I'm not fucking doing it. Um,
what about
but
2 day, 1 day?
two
Does
day,
that
one day.
factor in? Would you do a 1 day over a 2 day or 2 day
I would
over a
probably
one
do a
day
one
or
day. I would probably do a 1 day. No, I like 2 day shows. I'm not opposed to 2 day shows, but but I also feel like this whole kind of situation is one of those shit or get off the pot situations. It's like this whole like tension between vendors and show coordinators, and they kind of are like they're kind of like the king of the castle almost, you know? It's like we know our show's the shit or we're going to pretend like our show's the shit and you can participate or you don't have to. And I think that that's the thing. It's like just fucking don't, you know, because and like find the small stuff and work your way up, you know. I also think that I haven't looked at your stuff. I don't even know who asked the question. Um but you know, you have to have pieces that are quality enough. Like we all have to have pieces that are quality enough for the shows that we're attending. And to break even on a $200 for a day, you know, like I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say this. Um, it's one of those things. It's like you got to know where you are selling wise. You know, if you're selling $200 at a show, maybe that's something. Maybe look into fucking farmers markets or church shows or something that's more in that level. And if a $200 booth fee intimidates you and for good reason, you know, we all have certain points of where we are in our career and where we are in our level of like quality, you know, and everybody always starts out and is doing shows and you know
yeah.
they could learn a little bit. I mean, fuck, you should have seen my first show, May 1st, my birthday. My shit was terrible. uh but you know, we all have that kind of experience, and so it's just kind of like building up that uh building up that like experience to make that $200 show worth it. As far as the rules are concerned, some of those sound absolutely fucking ridiculous. But
Yeah, they sound real excessive. Like you can't fucking leave your booth. Like, does that mean you have to use one of their designated booth sitters that they have that the show provides? But it doesn't even sound like that. That sounds so stringent.
I'm more of an apologize later sort of person when it comes to rules like that. But
That sounds like you're gonna have to have your booth neighbor watch your booth because they're not a designated vendor, so they can't actually be at a booth.
Yeah, it's dumb. That's dumb. But yeah, if they have those shitty ass rules, I think that also goes to show you what kind of organizers they are. You know, if they're gonna be that fucking ridiculous, then once you start doing the show, they're probably going to be just as ridiculous in person. And I would not want to be in a show like that, like ever, you know?
Yeah, some of the weird experiences are like things that turn me off, or if some of the organizers or if some people that are helping with show setup or helping you load in and load out, if they're like rude, like that'll
Mm-hmm.
turn me off because I'm there for your show. I've paid money to be here. So
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be nice to you. Hopefully you're nice to me. Like we're in this together here. Like you're providing this thing for me, and also I bring value to you because of the stuff that I have. And you accepted me. I paid my fee. Like
Yeah.
as long as I'm not doing, as long as I'm not being rude and like not following rules with the procedures and like those kind of things, load in, load out, ease and stress definitely can be a factor. But there's also some of them that you're just like, okay, some of these like I'm gonna have to dolly my stuff in, but it's like totally worth it because the show is just really good, you know.
I've
So
never not dollied my shit in.
like the like even the Berea one, like the one that you came and visited, I was able to drive my car in between the rows and stuff and
Oh,
drop
yeah,
my car
yeah.
right there. Like I didn't have to dolly anything.
Okay.
Um, yeah, the boothy thing. You make a good point about the price and like the $200. Like it took me some time to figure out what was a realistic expectation of, you know, what kind of show am I going to? What price point are people looking at? And then that'll give me a reasonable expectation of what I can shoot for and what I expect my sales to be. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be right on, and that just comes with the experience of knowing how good you are about judging a show and what to expect. So like, you know, if I know $20 to $30 is the average price point, then you know, bring a bunch of stuff that's lower price and entice those buyers to
Mm-hmm.
make the purchases. You know, don't take all your vases out if that's not in the price point, or else, you know, you're not going to sell as well. So that just comes with experience, though.
This is a perfect, actually, what is happening in my life right now is a perfect example of show, um, like scoping out a show almost, you know, like, um, so my friend signed up for this show thinking it was a completely different show, thinking it was like a fine art show. And it turns out that it was a hobby, not a hobby, but like a gift. What is it?
Like
Like a
decor and craft and
like Christmas gift show, holiday gift show. And it's an extremely expensive show. It's $1,200 for a booth, a 10 by 10. And so I told her that I'd split it with her because her stuff, she does not have the right price point, and she fucking knows it. Like, she tried to get out of this booth. Like, she tried to get out of the show and they wouldn't let her. And
Mhm.
but that's like a perfect example. Like, you have to know your market, and you have to know what show, the show that you're um going to, what market they have. Like, what I'm selling is perfect for this show, but what she's selling is not. She's like, I just need to make the money that I spent, you know? So, but we all have those moments where we like, I mean, I did the exact same thing. Ironically, the very first show that I did ever was the same type of show that I'm doing right now, which I think is like a whole new beginning. It's like I started out with
would
that
you
type of show,
say whole new world? Or
whole new beginning, because I started out with that type of show when I knew nothing, and now that I know things, then I'm going to another, no, not a whole new world, Ryan.
Becca
um
missing the Aladdin reference.
and then I'm going to uh you know, I'm doing the same type of show that did 5 years ago. Well, that was my first like indoor Christmas show, but
Wow.
yeah, so it's like this whole new kind of like thing to see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, like, you just have to know your market, you have to know the show, you have to know your quality and your style and your demographic. And if it doesn't fit that, then don't fucking do it.
And if you don't know all those answers, you can also apply if you're willing to risk the money and go for it. Like if you can afford to take the chance, you can go that route too. Like you don't have to have all the
Yeah.
answers, but um sometimes you do just have to take a chance because maybe you can't wait another year. If something comes up and an opportunity comes up and you're like, I want to try this, go for it. One good thing is a lot of these shows you have to apply for them
Yeah.
if it's an art show. So you pay a application fee. You should be able to risk the application fee. I would hope that that's not a question mark of whether you're like, can I spend $35 for this application fee or $25 for this application fee? Like,
Hmm.
and they give you all the details about like how much the booth's going to cost and what booth size you're going to get and all that stuff. So you should know all those details when you're applying for the show. But if something's on your radar and you're thinking about it, apply for it first just to see if you get in, and then from there assess it. I mean, you should already be assessing like, should this be a show that I should be doing? But if you're thinking about it, apply for it and then see if you can do it. But yeah, you mentioned like the scope of the shows, like farmers markets. Those are super low risk. Like it's
Yeah.
just the time. So those are usually like 10, $25. I don't know, $30. I don't know if they're more than that. Are there farmers markets that cost more than that to do?
Oh yeah, there's farmers market that costs like $50.
$50, yeah. So I would say, yeah, like farmers market's a good low risk one. There's some shows out there that are more like crafty or indie or
Mm-hmm.
um like monthly things that are regular that might have a good stream of customers, but it's more like there are other things going on, or it's not necessarily like all art stuff. It could be like consumables, or um it could be fabric or plants or something like that that like you
Yeah.
fit into that kind of area, which I would consider like West Side Market. Um, those booths might be 50 to $75, but it's still one day and it's kind of like a like upscale farmers market or something like that.
Yeah.
There's more stuff going on. It's more of an event than just a one-off small market. Um, and then there's kind of those other shows that are more like art shows or craft shows, I would say, that are in the 150 to $200, and they're usually not a single day, but some of them are a single day, and they could be, like Hyde Park Art Show. I think that's like 140 a day for the day, but I mean, there's some single day ones that I might have done that have been 200, but it's very rare. It's got to be a pretty big art show and pretty like well known for me to pay that much for a single day.
Yeah. Oh, also I was gonna note about the Good Old Boys Club, you know. Um that's just the way the art world works.
Are you
You're gonna
talking
have to
about the
get a
gatekeeping part, the rules and regulations, or just the?
No,
Are
it's
you
like
talking
how
about like?
everybody always gets in the same shows.
Oh,
Like everybody that applies, like it's always the same group of artists that gets in the shows in these like fine art shows. That's just the way the fucking art world works. Nobody's perfect. And it's not gonna fucking change. And it sucks. But it's the way it is,
I mean, some
unfortunately.
of it's like the organizers. They've been doing the
Mm-hmm.
same organizers for a long time, and like I've been on the side of organizing shows, like the Spring Pottery Fair for the Clay Alliance. Like I've been on that side of it. There's a lot that goes into it. So like
Yeah.
selecting artists and getting a level of work that you want your show to be. If you have reliable artists that you're familiar with, that you like the work, that have
Yeah.
good rapport with, you know what to expect, but also like there needs to be some options and some opportunities for people to filter in some new work, because customers, like there's some shows that I've attended like St. James Art Fair in Louisville. You go down the same You park in the same place, you'll walk the same path, you're seeing the same booths year after year. They don't change a ton, like the booths themselves,
Yeah.
the work that they're producing, but it's like the biggest show in Louisville. But it's like, there's not a lot of new people in there. And if they are, they're in the spaces that are like less appealing. Like if they get their spot,
Totally.
they're in there every year and they're going to be there year after year unless they have other obligations. But like, as a customer, I get deterred from going there. Like, is it a big deal that I didn't go this year? No, it's like, I don't really care. Like, we didn't make a trip there to Louisville and make a day of it. Like, it's a good thing for the family to go out, and we usually go with my in-laws and my parents and stuff and make a day of it. But
Yeah.
like, it's not a big deal that I missed it. So, because it's like,
Yeah.
I know what I missed because it's the same old shit. So, but yeah, it's its
Yep.
own learning experience finding the shows and jeez on them. Yeah, but
Yep.
that's a lot of business questions, art show questions. All right, anything else?
No, I'm tired.
Exhausted. All right.
It's 12:30.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks. Bye. Oh, sweet mother of all that is holy.
All right. Are we considering this? What do you want to call this? Like art show, something or another?
I don't know. What do you want to call it?
Do you want to consider this one a short one or
No.
it's 1 hour? No. Okay.
People can deal with an hour episode.
Okay. A short one's considered 30 minutes, I feel like.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you saw in my story on the Wheel Talk, but like I'm open to getting listener questions like through audio or video or whatever.
Okay.
I think it'd be cool, like, if we needed to desperately, like, do a short one and do it solo, like, I could do a 30-minute solo one answering a question or something, or answering. Like, I think that's something that we can have in our back pocket that may, like, add another voice in there with the audio, but...
Yeah.
We
I think business questions is good.
What'd you say?
Business questions.
Business questions? Yeah, that's good. All right. What are you doing on them? Need so much attention right now.
Can you upload that one from that you?
Well, we just did.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay.